The ASFP, we represent not only the industry, but it's the membership that we have as well within the passive fire protection sector. And we look at raising standards through training, testing, certification, quality of installation, and obviously the ongoing maintenance. So what we offer is advancing knowledge and guidance on all aspects of built-in fire protection, providing the technical support and impartial advice through not only the team at ASFP but through its membership base. We also lead on regulatory and behavioural change, improve competence and quality through our training programmes. Now I'll touch on some of these topics as we progress through the programme, but one of the things I'd like to highlight obviously is the ASFP website. You can see the link there. It's a go-to reference point really. If you've got any information requirements, any needs that you have regarding passive fire protection, if you go to the ASFP website, there's a whole series of guidance documents, specification support, there's videos, information on training, but there's also a search facility so you can look at the ASFP members and understand who's doing what, look at what their service offers are. So it's a useful tool. With regards to the advice and guidance, there's a wide range of support. Now I'll highlight how we actually come about producing this information. But the website contains a whole series of publications. So there's a guide for reviewing passive fire protection for risk assessors. There's a fire stopping installation guide, best practice guide, and then you'll see the colour books in the centre there. There's a whole series of colour books which relate to each particular area of passive fire protection. Now, how we produce this information is, I'll just give you some information of how the ASFP work. We coordinate a lot of activity which is from the industry, which goes through a whole series of technical task groups and technical committees, which is made up from our membership and filters through out into the industry. So that's coming from the people that's working within the industry and filtering through the technical task groups to produce the advisory notes, guidance documents and the colour books which are referenced in building regs, all relating to best practice of passive fire protection. What we also have as well, which is a useful information tool, is a video library of guidance and support modules. They're also available on the ASFP YouTube channel, and these cover an introduction to passive fire protection. There's one on fire risk assessment, fire doors, fire resisting walls, fire stopping. I won't read the whole list, but you can see there the list. And then at the end there's one about the correct specification and installation of fire stopping. Now that links to the guidance document that I just highlighted, and we'll touch on that later on with regards to some of the reasons why we're actually offering this advisory information and guidance notes. So crucial to know is that the ASFP have developed a training suite which equips candidates with the knowledge that's required in order to demonstrate competency, and I know that's a big issue at the moment, but it's also a route to academic recognition. If you're an ASFP member, there's significant discounts on the training costs as well, but this raises the bar within the industry, and it's something that the ASFP have been looking to do for many years, and it's something we've been active on, and it improves the quality and competence across the breadth of the industry. So it's not only a benefit to our members that need to go through that as part of the requirement of membership, but it benefits industry. So if you look at the training requirements, there's an online introduction to passive fire protection, and this is designed to equip any new entrants to the industry with a basic knowledge of passive fire protection. And I know some companies actually use this as part of their onboarding system and the HR package to introduce new starters to passive fire protection. And then we have the level 2 and level 3 courses, which embed best practice and draw on the technical expertise of the ASFP, but also it provides the actual qualification in passive fire protection as provided by the Institute of Fire Engineers, and it's backed by Ofqual as well, so it gives you that qualification. And this was the first actual qualification in passive fire protection that's been introduced into the industry. So there's information on that on the website. What that actually provides as well is there's now, through the later requirements of having to link between the actual face-to-face courses and online courses, we've introduced the level 2 and level 3 as an online course. And this is quite a revolutionary e-learning system which uses adaptive learning techniques, so the training actually understands the learning speed and the knowledge of the actual person sitting the course and matches the content to that learning speed. So it provides flexible learning. It's online, but there's also face-to-face mentoring as well as required. There's also the option to send through any questions which is answered by the training team. So it's quite a useful document. So some of the communication we do to inform the market of the fire protection, we have a quarterly newsletter which goes out to a database of over 10,000 people, and this draws on information of latest news, projects, events that's happening within the industry, developments of policy and publications, and it also allows our members to promote their information and their services and their changes through the ASFP channels as well. Now, one of the things that's available is that the ASFP's increased its profile quite dramatically, and through the influence and knowledge sharing basis, members can access the work being undertaken through the task group process and share information, whether it be through these events that we're here, regional seminar programs, the ASFP awards, and the task group meetings that I highlighted earlier, which provide all the guidance and information which filters back through into the industry. So we're raising the understanding of the passive fire protection across the industry, and ASFP members, as I say, you have the opportunity to host and present information which you'll see during the course of these 3 days to educate the wider industry. Now, we've also introduced a series of webinars, which I know people have been involved in. We've got the awards events, and there's also the seminar slots that we've just mentioned. Now, all this communication that we put out and all the guidance notes and all the information and documentation is done for a reason. Now, the information that we put out, we all know about the passive fire protection, built-in measures to protect the structure of the building and limit the spread of fire and smoke, and we can see when passive fire protection works, and obviously you can see that project where the fire doors and the compartmentation has worked effectively in order to compartment the fire away from the staff that was held in the warehouse facility. But the communication that we offer is based around the still installation issues which we see, and we're all aware of some of the sites that we see where products are used in applications where there's no test evidence to support the requirement. And you can see some of the pictures there, and we'll just run through some of the issues that we see. So we can see incorrect application for materials sealing around services through a fire compartmentation wall. Non-tested solutions around the penetration through a fire compartment. No fire protection, we've seen a picture earlier, no fire protection around the services and above the ceiling line. We've seen that earlier as well, where the fire compartment stopped at the false ceiling. And also, we've seen issues where an intumescent pipe has been wrapped around a plastic soil pipe, but the wrap has been wrapped in the incorrect position, and the void has been filled with an expandable foam. But what's interesting, I don't know if anybody's noticed, that the actual element that's tied on with a plastic tie, which the last time I saw, they're not fire resistant, is the actual fitting instructions. So someone's actually took the time to fit the fitting instructions around the collar in the incorrect position. And these are things that we see, and this is part of the reason why we spend a great deal of time producing the information and offering the advice and the guidance in order to ensure the right message is going out into the right arena. And we've seen a number of those applications where we've seen the PU foam which is being used. Now the PU foam says on the tin 4 hours, but what we need to understand is that the materials need to be used in the application that they've been tested against. And I don't know if you can see, but it provides the calculations of the aperture width and the aperture depth and what the actual performance is at that particular time. And as opposed to the 4 hours, you can actually see, well, the 4 hours is saying on the tin, is that actually where it's actually fitting in every application? And you can see from the test evidence that's provided with those products when you look, that if you have a depth of 10 mil and a width of 50 mil, you're only getting 11 minutes of protection in that particular application. Now we actually seen a number of these images earlier, and what's important is that the video that I mentioned before about the correct installation of passive fire protection and fire stopping relates to these particular documents. And you can see on the left hand side we've mimicked the actual installation method that's been used previously, and we've tested it in association with one of our test house members. And you can see after testing the products failed. Any ideas of how long it took for that particular aperture to fail, given what the product said? Nearly, not a bad guess. Actually took 9 minutes, but still, you know, not what you'd expect. So it just shows that the product in an application where it's not tested for is not particularly going to provide the performance that you require. And again, remember this picture from earlier about the actual installation of the foam. We mimic that around the cabling through a compartmentation wall. And again, time to failure, anyone? 7 minutes, so you're closer with that. So it just gives an indication. And one of the things that the ASFP have developed is obviously the on-site guide to fire stopping. Now this is readily available from our website, so you can download it as a PDF document. Now this is only a 12-page document, but it provides an operator-friendly overview of the do's and don'ts that are required when you are applying fire stopping. There's more illustrations than text. There's a description of every type of fire stopping used, so it's quite a useful and practical guidance document. And it's supported, I mentioned the video, it also supports that particular video, so they work hand in hand, so they're quite a useful combination of documents. Now we've gone through the issues that we've seen on site. We've gone through the issues of the communications and the support and advice and guidance that the ASFP provide throughout a number of mediums. But if we're looking at how we are trying to ensure that the right product is installed in the right application by the right people, one of the things that the ASFP look at is third-party certification, and it's a requirement, certainly the installing contractors who are ASFP members, to have the third-party certification for installing the passive fire protection products in place. But having said that, there's two types of the certification. There's a certification of products, which is related to the manufacturers, and obviously our manufacturer members have the certification in place, and then we have the certification of the installers. Now we'll come on to later who those particular certification bodies are for the installation process, but what it does is it provides some confidence that these people have gone through an audit process of their office procedures and their on-site installation methods about installing these particular products. So we look at the product certification. With having the product certification in place, you are confident that the samples are selected by the certification bodies and they've gone through an evaluation to ensure consistency of production. So it's a repeated process. So it's consistently audited, they're fit for purpose, and the products are tested to ensure that they perform in the application that they are designed to fit. And obviously without that in place, you haven't got that confidence that that's actually going to be the case. So if we look at the certification for the installing contractors, obviously the bodies there that we have that are recommended by the ASFP and are all ASFP members, so there's the IFC certification, the Fire Ash certification scheme, the BRE LPCB scheme and the BM Trada process as well. Now they are the bodies, you can get information on those bodies through the ASFP website, and we recommend that everyone installing the fire protection products has that certification in place. And again, one of the benefits for anybody using an installing contractor will ensure that the products that are used are tested in accordance with the specific application it's being used for. The operatives that are installing the product are trained. There's inspection of the on-site processes by the certification body. So it's ensuring that there's an independent assessment of the products, the services provided and the installation methods provided by the company providing and the team that's providing the installation for any stakeholder that's interested in this particular process. So again, the interest and the importance of the certification of installers to ensure that the correct product is installed in the correct application by the correct certified and trained installer. Now I'll just refer back to the colour books, because the colour books that are provided by the ASFP are that specific guidance document which highlights the product by the application and by the tested procedure of what product should be installed in what application and how. So it's a useful documentation. If you've not seen it, I suggest go onto the website and have a look for that particular documentation. So the position of the ASFP on third-party certification, it certainly adds value. It's mandatory for the ASFP for the installer scheme. So the ASFP always recommend the use of third-party certified products and also the third-party certified contracted installation processes as well. Now, one of the things you can do on all those certification schemes that I mentioned, you can go onto those scheme providers and you can search for companies that are, whether they are registered on that particular process as well. You can go onto the ASFP website if you're looking for an installer or you're looking for a manufacturer. All the members are searchable. They all have their own page as well, so it's a useful tool to look for. So, with the guidance information and the supportive information that's provided by the ASFP, we provide the voice into the industry, which is not only from the ASFP, but it's from the ASFP team, the members, whether they be manufacturers, distributors, the installers, whether they are engineers. We cover the whole spectrum, and we take in their voice to ensure we're providing the right information into the right situation. And through our training programs, we're upskilling the industry to ensure competence, and that's being brought in effectively, and people are brought into the importance of passive fire protection, the correct specification, procurement and installation. We are a strong voice in the industry. As I've said about the website, we're the go-to point for anything on passive fire protection, so I'd recommend anyone who's unaware of the information is going and have a look at our website. There's a huge amount of information that's available there, and there's a access to an expanding pool of expertise. So just to summarise it, if you're in doubt, look for the ASFP logo. It speaks volumes. It talks about the strength of the industry. It's a sign of all its members being educated up to a competent level, and the industry's benefiting from the guidance, and also the industry's benefiting from the ASFP members that are operating within the market. So we're continually developing our support, our guidance that the industry is asking for. Passive fire protection obviously works well if it's designed and specified, installed and maintained correctly, which is everything that we're trying to install, and we're providing that guidance and knowledge in order for that to actually happen. And we're working hard to promote the importance of passive fire protection. So it's a case of always used third-party certified installers products, so you know they are tested in accordance with the application they're being used for, and look to the ASFP for guidance and the help that may be required. So thanks for listening.